Hey everyone. As I get ready to take my next journey around the sun, I wanted to point out where I get my stuff before we get on to today's topic. I try to avoid Amazon, if at all possible, for several reasons. The largest of them being that uh, the way that the workers are treated is reprehensible. The fact that they want to eliminate the ability to even form a union is unacceptable. Now, I am not a fan of unions, and I want to explain why. They're essential, but I'm not a fan. But they can be fixed, just like a lot of the issues that we have solutions to them. When you're dealing with something as large as Amazon, and yes, that means sometimes I have to get things from Amazon because that is the only place, like my 3D printer that I've got that I need parts, I have to go to Amazon for. I don't have a choice. But it's governed by a person at the top who cares nothing but profit. Their board of directors, which you will note does not have an overabundance of employees on it, cares nothing but profits. The shareholders don't care about anything but profits. How is their stock benefiting them? Saw the same type of thing with the school board. The school board members would come on being gung-ho about wanting to support their school, but eventually it became a game. Politics became a game. It was nothing but power and had nothing to do with the reason they became board members in the first place. Same with boards of companies. You may have a vision, like Tesla might have had a vision at one point of making the world better by having electric cars and cutting down on pollution. But somewhere along the way, that gets taken away by profit, which you can notice by the fact that they haven't put out a new car other than the so-called Cybertruck. It's stagnant. And I think that goes back to the boards, because the boards are not term limited, right? Same exact thing happens with unions. A union is the same thing. It's a political entity. And I have seen gross abuses done by unions to their own people because they are a political entity, and the people at the top, after a certain point, become more interested in power and holding their position than they are in taking care of the people that put them there in the first place. And it's easy for me to say, hey, it's the union's fault or it's the board's fault. It's not. They were voted into positions. It is the fault of the people who voted them in, regardless of what tactics might have been used to help them consolidate power. They still had to be voted in. In order for there to be equity, there has to be a bullpen of people who are competent and who are willing to take on that role, so that when, after a set term, let's say they're in for 4 years, when they step down after the 4 years, there's somebody there ready to take that position, somebody worthy of taking that position, not just somebody who is running so we vote for him. Because of this emphasis on profit, there's very little that you can do to cut down on your costs, right? If you're a company and you're selling something, what you had to pay for the materials to make that is fixed. If you're reselling something, what you paid for the device is fixed. There's nothing you can do about that, which means the only thing you can cut is salary, because you have to pay your rent. You can't do much about that. You have to pay your electric bill. Nothing you can do about that. So there's very little that you have the ability to change. And that's why when you look at things like tariffs disproportionately hurt small businesses, small creators. The cost of their materials goes up. And because the cost goes up, they have to raise their prices, which then puts them at even less of a competitive against something as large as Amazon. So I try to stay away from Amazon for those reasons, right? They're large. They can bully vendors. If you want to be on here, there was one company I saw that even bullied the vendors in their contracts that they would get a percentage of all the sales that came through, even though they were just front-ending whatever it was, right? They did nothing for them, really. And they were already charging them fees. But in addition to that, there was an additional 30% tacked on to everything they sold, which meant that the seller now had to tack on 30% on everything that they were selling to make up for the 30% that they're losing to the company. So with that profit goal and salaries being kept low and people being worked overtime and worked in poor conditions, it helps them keep their costs down as far as what you pay, but it increased the costs that the people who work there pay and that society pays for having something like this existing. So when I talk about something, and I may use Amazon as a reference for the simple fact that it's an easy place for everybody to just go take a look. But go look for it someplace else if you can. You can't always do that. Like I said, my 3D printer, I've got to get the parts off of Amazon. I can't find them anyplace else at this point. So sometimes we're limited. The other thing to think about is when I talk about what I'm going to talk about today, which are LED lights. Some states, like Vermont, have an arrangement where the price of the LED lights is cheaper than it is in other states. So you may want to keep an eye out for something like that as well. One way to check really quick to see if that would apply to you is go to Home Depot. See what Home Depot is charging in your state and in other states around you that are close to you to see if you can get the same thing in a different state. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to buy it from Home Depot. Again, another big company, another big problem. But it'll allow you to see if there's something possibly about a state that might allow you to get something less expensive that way. All of that said, what I wanted to talk about this time is lighting. I have found these bar lights that are, and bar is in the shape of the light, that are LED. They charge over USB. They're motion sensitive. You can have them on, you can have them off, or you can have them on auto, which will allow the motion sensor to take over. What I don't like about the particular lights that I have is they are not light sensitive. That means that they will turn on at any motion at any time of the day, which cuts down on their usefulness, obviously, because their battery life gets a little bit lower every time they turn on. But you can turn them down, and I use them primarily. My goal was to have just extra lighting at night. Right? If you live with people and you don't want to be turning on lights because you want to walk through the house, having a series of these set up, which are inexpensive, easy to charge. They're magnetic mounted on the back, so all you have to do is just pop them off the wall. They've got metal plates that you can screw into the wall or just stick to your wall. And you can just take them off, recharge them, and pop them back up. But you can keep them low, and that allows you to have a way of navigating a dark house without turning on lights, waking everybody up. Right? Instead of turning on your overhead lights, you could have them down by the floor, You could have them waist height on the wall. You could have them up at the top of the wall if you wanted to, wherever's going to work the best for you. I have a hallway that has a mirror in the hallway. Never really understood why the mirror was there, but it's there. My folks, I can't remember if we got the house with the mirror there or if they installed it. But I can put a light in such a fashion that the light bounces off that mirror, so it increases the amount of light in the hallway. It just gives me a little bit of light, not enough that really affects my night vision. So it will affect it a little bit, yes. But it's not a bright light like I would get if I turned on the bathroom light, for example. So it allows me to have these lights that, allow me to walk through the house without putting out a bunch of power. But B, if the power were to go out, it allows me to go through and take care of what I need to and still see where I'm going because I have these lights, right? It gives me the ability to navigate a darkened house because of a power outage and get to my circuit breakers. Go see what's going on with them. See if it's power outage or if I blew a breaker. There's lights to allow me to see that. The other thing is, it's very easy these days to swap out your lights for LED ones, which will use a lot less electricity, which means your bill will go down. And for those of us who are a little concerned because our power comes through Canada, that a tariff might be jacking our prices up through the roof, using less power is a good thing. And those LED lights cut down a lot on the amount of power that you use, but be careful on what you're using. So if you've got a fluorescent and you see these really nice little fluorescent replacement tubes, I would caution against that. And that's because the fluorescents have a ballast in them. I don't think we're really saving a lot on the electricity on those. Better off to just replace those lights. And I've gotten 80 watts worth of power with a 5 watt fixture, or 5 to 15 watt fixture. So it cuts down a lot on how much power is being used by swapping out for LED units. And like I said, LED also is a lot more portable. You can set them up and put them where you need to, and they've got motion sensors and you're good to go. I do have a old set that I have never been able to find since, that mounted by magnet or by screw, had a ball shape at the bottom, which allowed you to angle it however you wanted. So these bar lights, they're going to go in one direction, it's just straightforward. But this allowed you to angle it. It had 3 little LED lights, and it was like having a small flashlight. It is motion sensitive, and it also detected if the lights were on. If the lights were on, they didn't turn on, and ran off of 3 AAA batteries. So it was a nice little unit. I used to take it camping with me. I have light in the tent. Right? All I had to do was just open my tent flap, see the motion, and turn on, and I could see into the tent every time I came in. So there's a lot of options out there that have gotten much, much better than what we had originally. Some just flooded the market with cheap crap because people wanted LED lights. So pay attention to what you're getting. Look at the reviews of what you're seeing. Now, the bar lights that I got, I did get off of Amazon. Again, I have not found anything at the... For all I've got is a local hardware store is a Home Depot. So I didn't find anything there that really impressed me or that I liked. And most of the stuff that ours has is more commercial type, regular inset lighting and things like that. So look around, see what's available. They also make beautiful solar lights for outside that you can get that allow you to not use any electricity. They're motion sensitive. I've got one by my garage, so when I drive the car in or out at night, it turns on and I can see as I get out of the car and walk to the house. The one on the house also is set up to turn on, and it's another solar-powered beast. So a lot of these things can give you lighting for no electrical cost. They usually stay very well charged. The one that I have out on the garage I've had for over a year, and it's gone through snowstorms, and I go out and clean off the wipe the top off of it, but I never had to take it down to charge it. It's always had a sufficient charge to it that I never had to worry about it not functioning. I don't drive in and out every day. However, I have animals, and every time a deer walks into my yard, which can happen on at least once a week basis, the light will turn on. So the light is getting used at night, but my usage and what it's got keeps it charged. Have another set over a set of stairs, does the same thing. It lights up the entire stairway for me. So if I make a walk toward the porch, it turns on and I can see to walk up the stairs. So there's a lot of options out there that you can get that will enhance your house. I'll make it be a little bit safer. And again, these LED bar lights that I've got are removable. So if you needed to, in a power outage, grab one and walk with it, you can. Just pop it off, switch it to on, and you can walk around with a light. And then when you're not using it, just put it back where it came from. Turn it back onto auto, and you've got your walking lights back in place. So I think there's a lot of options out there for this. It's just maybe difficult for you to find a good, reliable vendor that has a good, reliable, high quality LED setup. But look around. I'm sure you'll find something that will suit your needs. These were actually designed originally for being underneath a kitchen cabinets. Right, you'd pop them under there, and then as you're working in the kitchen, these lights would turn on. I have LED serial lights, series lights. There's 3 LED bar lights in a series that go underneath my cabinets, but those are powered off of the electricity. But again, they're there. I can turn them on. I can turn them off. I run those off the solar. So while they are electrical, they are coming off my solar system. So the power is negligible. And that's how I've got things set up. That's the other advantage for these things. By having these LEDs, especially the ones that charge off a USB, a small solar battery system can recharge these for you. So it's not like it's using a lot of power when you need to recharge them as well. And again, you can use no power at all recharging them, just take them with the off-grid stuff. But that's what I got for you guys this week, and I will talk to you all next week.